The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Prabhu.
Why am I not talking?
Pushpasaram Navabhavadharam Navalasya Param Navahasya-karam.
Yes, Prabhu.
Are you in the class?
Yeah, we're just starting now.
Okay, cool. It's just I want to brief on you. This man came. Ruben. He said, you have to help us. He was trying, sentimentally he was talking. Sentimentally cannot help.
Just a minute. Because I'm supposed to play music. I'm coming. We'll just go out and
Navagoravharam Navapushpasaram Navabhav. Pushpasaram Navabhav भावधरं नवलस्य परं नवहास्यकरं नव हेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलास्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीतशुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं नवधाविलसशुभप्रेममयं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीतशुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं नवधाविलसशुभप्रेममयं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् हरिनामधरं करजाप्यकरं हरिनामपरं नयने सततं प्रणयाश्रुधरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं हरिभक्तिपरं हरिनामधरं करजाप्यकरं हरिनामपरं नयने सततं प्रणयाश्रुधरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् सततं जनता भवतापहरं परमार्थपरायण लोकगतिं नवलेखकरं जगतापहरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं सततं जनता भवतापहरं परमार्थपरायण लोकगतिं नवलेखकरं जगतापहरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् निजभक्तिकरं प्रियचारुतरं नटनर्तननागरराजकुलं कुलकामिनि मानसलास्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं निजभक्तिकरं प्रियचारुतरं नटनर्तननागरराजकुलं कुलकामिनि मानसलास्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम्
Revenue and this now, this is not urgent. Come back after 12.
करतालवलं कलकण्ठरवं मृदुवादसुवीनकया मधुरं निजभक्तिगुणावृतनाट्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं करतालवलं कलकण्ठरवं निज भक्ति गुणावृतनाट्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् धरणेषु चित्रं भवभावचितं तनुध्यानचितं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं युगधर्मयुतं गुणनन्दसुतं धरणेषु चित्रं भवभावचितं तनुध्यानचितं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् अरुणं नयनं चरणं वसनं वदने स्खलितं स्वकनामधरं कुरुते सुरसं जगत्जीवनं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् अरुणं नयनं चरणं वसनं वदने सलितं स्वकनामधरं कुरुते सुरसं जगत्जीवनं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलस्यपरं नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलास्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं 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 प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् पुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलस्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलास्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीत शुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं नवभाविलसा शुभप्रेममयं प्रणमामि शचीसुतं गौरवरं नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीतशुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं नवधाविलसा शुभप्रेममयं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम्
Hare Krishna devotees, you are welcome to the class for today. We're still waiting for Mother to come around. Hopefully she will come in very soon. So while we wait, we just continue to listen to this bhajan. Hare Krishna. Can everyone hear me? You can hear me, right?
From this end, you are audible.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's continue to listen to the bhajan.
Hari Bhakti Param Hari Namadaram Karajapyakaram Hari Nama Param Nayane Satatam Pranayashrudaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Hari Bhakti Param Hari Namadaram Karajapyakaram Hari Nama Param Nayane Satatam Pranayashrudaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Satatam Janata Bhavata Paharam Paramatha Parayana Lokagatim Navalekakaram Jagatapaharam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Satatam Janata Bhavata Paharam Paramatha Parayana Lokagatim Navalekakaram Jagatapaharam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Nija Bhakti Karam Priya Charutaram Natanarthananagar Rajakulam Kulakamini Manasalasya Karam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Nija Bhakti Karam Priya Charutaram Natanarthananagar Rajakulam Kulakamini Manasalasya Karam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Karatalavanam Kalakantaravam Mriduvad Suvinakaya Madhuram Nija Bhakti Gunavritanatya Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Karatalavanam Kalakantaravam मृदुवाद्यसुवीणकया मधुरं निजभक्तिगुणावृतनाट्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुतघोरवरम् युगधर्मयुतं पूर्णानन्दसुतं धरणेषु चित्रं भवभावचितं तनुध्यानचितं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं युगधर्मयुतं पूर्णानन्दसुतं धरणेषु चित्रं भवभावचितं अनुदानचितं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि शचीसुतं गौरवरम् अरुणं नयनं चरणं वसनं वदने स्खलितं स्वकनामधरं कुरुते सुरसं जगतजीवनं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् अरुणं नयनं चरणं वसनं वदने स्खलितं स्वकनामधरं कुरुते सुरसं जगतजीवनं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलस्य परं नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलास्य परं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं 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 प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलस्य परं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलास्य परं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीतशुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं नव
Hare Krishna, devotees. I guess there is some little challenge at the other end from mother's end, so we're not seeing her. So we're going to be listening to Prabhupada lecture on this same verse, given in Los Angeles. So we listen attentively after the Prabhupada's lecture. If there are questions, we have senior God brothers here who can do justice to that. So I'm going to be playing Srila Prabhupada's lecture on that, on the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 8, text number 41.
Translation. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis.
Pandava and Vrishni dynasty.
Because I'm busy, I will send it.
It belongs to both families. She is the daughter of the Vishnu family and the wife and mother of the Pandava family. So, generally, a woman has got affection both for the father's family and husband's family. So she is asking Krishna that I'm a woman, generally I'm attached to my family. So kindly cut off my this attachment so that thoroughly I can be attached unto you. This is the purpose. Because without you, either my this family or that family, opulence and everything, then you are zero. So falsely I am attached to these families. My business is to be attached unto you. This is bhakti. Bhakti means to be free from the attachment of this material world and to become attached to Krishna. Because you have to attach to something. You cannot become unattached. That is not possible. So, in order to become attached to Krishna or to enter into the devotional service of the Lord, one has to become detached from this material attachment. That is important. Ordinarily, they go to Krishna for maintaining the attachment with this material. Just like, oh God, give us our daily bread. That means I've got attachment of this material world, and to live in this material world, I must have supplies of material things so that I can maintain my status quo. This is called material attachment. Where people go to God for securing the material position. That is, one sense it is good, but that is not wanted. To become free from material attachment, that is required. Not that I worship God to increase my opulence in the material. That is not wanted. So, bhakti means detachment. Vairagya vidya nija bhakti yogam. Bhakti yogam means detachment. Our suffering is due to our attachment. Because we are materially attached, I am desiring so many things materially. Therefore, Krishna is giving me opportunity to enjoy that material facility. Whatever I want, whatever I desire, of course I must deserve. First desire, then desire. Suppose if I want to become king, so I must have past activities behind me so that I can become king. But Krishna can fulfill whatever you want, Krishna can give. Krishna can give you mukti, liberation. The Mayavadi is mukti. But he does not give very easily bhakti that he does give. Krishna can give you all material gifts, even up to mukti if you want. But when he gives bhakti, that is special consideration. Because when he gives somebody bhakti, he becomes purchased by the bhakti. So therefore he considers Krishna become a tool in the hands of Bhakta. Although he is so the supreme powerful, just like Radharani, the symbol of the topmost bhakti, Radharani. So she has purchased Krishna. She has purchased Krishna. She is so powerful. Therefore, Vaishnava, they take shelter of the lotus feet of Radharani. So that if she recommends, oh, here is a nice devotee, Krishna has purchased. So to become a devotee of the Lord, we have to be completely cleansed of all material attached. That is the qualification. Vairag. That is, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote 100 verses praising Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he became a student of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, out of that, 1 or 2 verses are mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. One of them is, this is the statement, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Shikha Tameka Purusha Purana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sarira Dhari Kipam Buddhi Jas Tamaham Prapadde. Sarva Bhattacharya is offering his prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has now assumed the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikhartha, just to teach people how to become a pure devotee of Krishna. Pure devotee of Krishna. So Vairagya Vidya, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was only 24 years old. His lovable wife, beautiful wife, very serving mother, so affectionate mother, but he gave up everything. Took some time. So much honor, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was Grihastha, he was so much honored that by only direction of his finger, lakhs of people would immediately join. That he started the civil disobedience movement against Kali. So his position was very respectable in Nadia. Young man, beautiful, his body, nobody can compare with his beautiful body. Young wife, faithful wife, beautiful wife, mother, affectionate. position, everything. But he gave up everything. Vairag. This is called Vairag, renounced. If somebody has nothing to possess, if he says, I have renounced everything, what is the meaning of it? If you have something, then you renounce, then there is meaning. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's renouncement is unique. Nobody can give up such happy home, his honor, his position, his affection from mother, wife, friends, students, everywhere. Advaita Prabhu, although his father says he was honoring Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, still he gave up. Why? Just to teach us. Apani Achari Prabhu Jivali Sikha. He is teaching the whole world how one has to become detached. That is his personal teaching. How one can become devotee of Krishna, his personal teaching. That was detected by Rupa Goswami. Therefore, when he first saw Chaitanya, not first, second time, after resigning his post as minister, when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, so he offered his obeisances, falling back. Namo Mahavadannaya. He first addressed, most magnanimous. Most magnanimous. Namo Mahavadannaya. Krishna Prema Pradayati. Oh, you are distributing love of Krishna. Krishna Prema Pradayati. Love of Krishna is not very easy thing. By love, you can purchase Krishna. So, the love of Krishna is not an easy thing obtainable, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed this love of Krishna to anyone, to everyone, even to Jagai Mata. So Narottam Das Thakur, therefore, has sung in his song, Papi Tapi Joto Chilo, Hari Name Uddha Dilo, Tara Sakhi Jagaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so magnanimous that he delivered all kinds of sinful men. Jatuchi. And simply allowing them to chant Hare Krishna mantra daily. Tar Sakhi Jagaya. Now, at that time, there were two Jagai Madhas. But at the present moment, by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his process of teaching, how many Jagai Madhas are being delivered? So it is possible. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pleased, then he can give Krishna Prem, love of Krishna to anyone. Doesn't matter what is his qualification. He gives. If a person who is giving in charity, he can select any man. You take. That is power of Sri Chaitanya. Otherwise, Krishna Prem, to understand Krishna is very, very difficult. Manushanam sahasrishu kasti jagati siddha. Out of many millions of people, they are trying to make life successful. Nobody knows. They are simply working like animals. They do not know how to make the human life successful. The human life is successful when he understands Krishna. Otherwise, he remains an animal. That's all. Anyone who is not Krishna conscious, one who does not know what is Krishna, is no better than an animal. Isn't it? So this is going on. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this concession to the fallen souls of this age that you simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. Kirtanadiva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Parambraje. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special consciousness. Otherwise, a devotee, Kunti, is not ordinary devotee. She has become one of the relatives of Krishna, and Krishna has come to offer respect. So, Kunti is not an ordinary devotee. Still, she says that Krishna kindly help me to become detached from this family attachment. I am attached to two families, my father's family and my husband's family, Vishnishu and Pandavas. So the purpose is that one has to become detached from this so-called society, friendship, love. These will entangle us. One has to become free from this attachment. Sarvapadhi vinimuktam. So long I shall think that I belong to this family, I belong to this nation, I belong to this religion, I belong to this scholar, I belong to so many things you have created. There is no possibility of becoming Krishna conscious. No. So long I shall think I am American, I am Indian, I am an African, then we are attached. So long I am thinking that I belong to this family, that family, then I am attached. So long I am thinking I am father of this, mother of this, husband of this, wife of this, that is attached. So we have, these are designations, because I am spirit soul. All these attachments, they belong to the body. But I am not this body. That is the essence of understanding. If I am not this body, then I am whose father? If I am not this body, then I am whose mother? The Supreme Father, Mother is Krishna. We are simply playing the part of father, mother, sister, this, that. Then on the stage, the Maya, the material nature, is causing to dance like this, that you are father of this, or mother of this, you are member of this family, member of this nation. This is our dancing, monkey is dancing. Yes. Prakritikyamanani gunai karmani sarvasva ahankar vimuratma patta ham miti mannate. The Bhagavad Gita says, Prakriti is in nature, because that living entity has associated with the certain quality of nature. The nature is making him dance in that quality. I am thinking I am this and that and that and that. This is the basic principle of understanding. One should know, that is freedom, that I do not belong to anything of this bodily connection. Because to conceive in the bodily concept of life, Saiva Gokha, Yashatu Buddhi Kunapiti Dhatu, this is most essential education. Unfortunately, the so-called scientists are making more and more attached to this body. How much misleading they are. Therefore, I am speaking to our scientist friend that now it is the time for making propaganda amongst the so-called scientists, philosophers, leaders, politicians, because they are misleading the whole people of the world under the bodily concept of life. They're fighting. So the opportunity of becoming Krishna conscious, this is the human life. They are checking that, stopping that. Greatest enemy of the human civilization, these rascals. these rascals who is checking Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, and alluring them in different concept of life by designation, they're the greatest enemy of the human society. They are checking the progress of human life. If we accept evolutionary theory, by evolution we have come to, actually we have come from aquatics to plants and trees and then insects and beasts, birds. In this way we have come to this human form of life. Now what is next evolution? That they do not know. Next evolution is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. You read carefully. What is that evolution? Janti deva brata deva. Now the next evolution is, if you want to go to the higher planetary system, you can go. They cannot know, they do not know what are these higher planetary systems. They see every night there are so many planets, stars. But from this Shastra we can understand that the higher planetary system means the material comforts available there many, many times more than in this planet. You live in this planet almost for 100 years, but in the higher planetary system you can live which you cannot calculate, just like Brahma's life, stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Sahasra Yuga Parjantam Arahajat Brahmano Vidu. Brahma 12 hours, even you cannot calculate your mathematical figures. But one has to die. Nobody can live permanently within this, even if you have got a long duration of life. So these facilities you can get in higher planetary system if you prepare yourself. Janti deva brata deva, pitri janti priti brataha. Similarly, you can go to the pitri lokas. You can meet there your forefathers if they are, of course, eligible. Or Bhutirjat, if you want, you can remain here. And Madhyajino Pichanti Pam. And if you become a devotee of me, then you can come to me. This is the position. If you like, you can go to hell, you can go to the heaven, you can go to back home, back to God. This is the position. Therefore, intelligent person should think over that if I have to prepare for my next life, why not prepare for going back to home, back to God? This is intelligence. If I have to work to go to the higher planetary system or lower planetary system, because this body will be finished, next body I will have to accept. So, what kind of body I shall accept? That is stated in the Shastra. Urdham gachanti sattasva. Read Bhagavad Gita. These things are there. Those who are in the modes of goodness. Goodness means avoiding these four principles of sinful life. Even if you do not become a pure devotee of the law, if you follow the principles, the regulated principles, then you remain in goodness. And if you remain in goodness, then your next life is in the higher planetary system, even not going back to home. You get that opportunity. So, everything is there. We have to utilize our intelligence. Then this life is meant for that. But if we waste our life, misuse this opportunity of human life, just to live like the cats and dogs, ahara nidra, eating, sleeping, making, and depending, then we are spoiled. And these rascals, they do not know. They do not believe that there is next life. As I have told you many times, that Professor Kotovsky in Russia, he said, Swamiji, after this body is finished, everything. He's a big professor. He's saying like that. Our scientists also, they have no knowledge. Still they are passing as scientists, philosophers, and misleading person. This is our greatest greed. Therefore, I am requesting you all, just make a plan to face these rascals and defeat them. They are misleading the whole human society. Now, the Krishna consciousness movement should take this turn. They may not think that these boys and girls and so-called Krishna, they're sentimentalists, chanting and dancing. That is, of course, the ultimate goal. But they do not understand. They think that we are simply sentiments. We are the greatest scientists. We are the greatest philosopher. We are the greatest humanitarian. They should know that. Standing there. So, Krishna has got two businesses. Paritranam sadhunam vinasaya cha duskitam. Two businesses. He is giving protection to the sadhus, to the devotees, just like Krishna is giving protection to the Pandavas, to the Vishnus, because they are devotees. And similarly, he is killing Kansa, Aghasur. I think his killing business was a major business than protection. From the life of Krishna, you see the Krishna who. So if you can take a statistic, how much time he devoted for killing and how much time he devoted for protecting, we shall see he devoted more time for killing. You see? So that is also Krishna's business. So those who are Krishna conscious, killing we don't mean that you take weapon. That is not possible in this. Neither you have got the strength. If you kill, then you will be killed. Not that. But there are two kinds of victory. By logic, by reason, by education, you can kill their demonic propensities. That is also killing. If one is demon, and if you can turn into a devotee by your logic, by your arguments, that is also, he is killed. His demonic principle is killed. Now he is a saintly person. That is also killing. Not that. Kali Yuga, they are already very poverty-stricken, poor. So the physical killing is too much for them. They should be killed by argument, reason, scientific proposition. This should be one of the propaganda of Krishna consciousness movement. Because these people, the so-called scientists and philosophers, is misleading. Misleading in this sense that they have no information, that everything is coming out from life. They are proposing that everything is coming from matter. Their basic principle, the original cause, that find out some material adjustment. The other day, in the California University, one big man came, he is proposing the same thing. So our Sarup Damodar proposed that if we supply you all the ingredients, can you produce life? He said, I do not know. He, in the category of I do not know, and he is still a professor, he is a scientist. How he can be scientist if he do not know? If he in the list of I do not know, how he can be teacher? This is cheating. A teacher can be in the list of teacher if he does know. Yes, I know. That is teaching. If he says I do not know, then what kind of teacher is? He's a rascal. Cheater. One must teach on the seat of a teacher if he knows things as they are. That is not. One does not know things as they are. Still they have become teaching. That is the defect of the modern civilization. So, by Yeah, Kunti is addressing Krishna. Vishesha. Visha means the universe. Isha. Isha means the law, the controller. So Vishesha, he is controlling. He is controlling. So nicely, the universal affairs are going on. The sun is rising just in due time. Everything is going on nicely. There is no mismanagement. Everyone can understand. The seasons are changing. The seasonal fruits and flowers, they are coming out. Everything is going nicely. But how things are going nicely, there is no controller. But they have no common sense. If you see any establishment very nicely going on, we immediately understand the manager or the director or the controller of this institution is very nice. Similarly, if we see things of this universal affairs are going on very nicely, then we must know that there is a good controller. Who is that controller? That controller is Krishna. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyati sacharacharam. Therefore his address, Vishesha, oh the controller of the universe. The devotee should know what is Krishna. They picture simply Krishna as if simply embracing Radha Rani. That is also very in a obnoxious way. This rascal, they take it, the dealings of Radha and Krishna as ordinary boys and girls dealing. They don't understand them. Such pictures should be avoided. Krishna is the controller. Let there be one picture how Krishna is controlling the whole universe. That picture one. Not these cheap pictures, imitating our rubbish behavior with boys and girls. These pictures we do not want. We want picture how Krishna is controller, how he is controlling the universal affair. Vishesha. Vishesha Vishatman. Atman. The living force. The living force must be there. Unless there is living force within this body, as this body cannot move, cannot walk nicely. Similarly, within this universe, cosmic manifestation, there is the living force, Vishnu, Hirodaksai Vishnu, or Paramatma, Ishara Sarvabhutanam, Nirdesha Arjuna Tishtati. That is Vishatma. You should know that. How this world is moving, how this universe is acting. And these rascals they do not know. They should learn from this Bhagavad. Vishyatman, Vishesha, Vishamurti, and in manifestation, universal form, just like Krishna's exhibited before Arjuna. Arjuna wanted to see his universal form, and Krishna immediately showed it. So this Vishyatman, Vishesha, these are Krishna's opulence, Vibhuti. But in his original form, he is Krishna, two hands, playing on the flute. That is his original. The universal form is causal because Arjuna wanted to see Arjuna as a devotee, so he showed him. That is not actual form. Just like a person, he may dress himself as a king or something, but that is not his real appearance. His appearance at home. So Krishna's real form is Vrindavan, at home. That is real form. And all other forms are expansion of his plenary portions. Advaita Achyutaya Anadi Ananta Rupam. In the Brahmasani. Anantarupa. He can expand himself in millions and millions of forms. Anantarupa. But Advaita, that is one. Advaita, Achyuta. Achyuta means who never falls, infallible. So Krishna's infallible, not infallible, Krishna's real form. In any form, he is not fallible, he is Achyuta. But his real form is the Dibhuj Mirulibha. Dibhuj, two hands having a flute in the hand. That is real form. Therefore, Kunti Devi is addressing that you have got universal form, but the form in which you are standing before me, that is your real form. Satha Vishesha Vishyatman Vishwabhuti Sakeshu. Saka means kinsman. Own. We are thinking. This is my own, this is mine. Atha Griha Chetra Sutta Vitta Janasya Mohoyam. This is moho, illusion. How these illusions come into existence? The illusion comes. First of all, there is natural affinity, attraction for man and woman. A man is seeking after woman, woman is seeking after man. That is in human society, in bird society, beast society, everywhere. Even flies, insects, you see that one female is attached with the male, male is attached. So this is the beginning of material attachment. Then, by attachment, when one male finds out another woman, or one finds out another man, they unite. So this attachment becomes fixed up again. Already there is attachment, and as soon as they are united, that attachment becomes more firm. Tayo mitha vi dayavanti mam. I have already got attachment. But when I am again united, actually, that attachment increases. Now, after the attachment increases to some degree, the next degree is find out nice apartment to live together. There is another increase of attachment. Then we have got an apartment, find out some means of earning money. Formerly they were earning, there was no factories. Everyone has to earn his livelihood by agriculture, kshetra. Atha griha kshetra. The first of all, apartment must be maintained by working, by earning something, griha kshetra. Then when everything is settled up, now you must have a son, children. Yes. Atha griha kshetra suta apta. Then we must have some friends will come and realize me, oh, you have such nice apartment, nice wife. Atha griha kshetra suta apta vitta. Then to maintain all this, we must have money. Money. Sweeter than honey. In this way, our attachment increases. Attachment increases. Therefore, the first education is the students to teach them brahmachari. Brahmachari means don't be attached. If you can, you avoid all this nonsense. That is brahmachari. Try to avoid better. If not, enter. Then after some time, Vanaprastha. Now I have indulged so much to this attachment. Now leave the home. That's called Vanaprastha. At that time the wife goes as assistant and the man travels all over the communities to become detached. Then after 2 months, 3 months, he again comes home, sees the children are doing nice. Again, this is the beginning of detachment. When the detachment is complete, then the man asks his wife, now you go, live with your children. I am taking some. This is final detachment. So the whole thing is for detachment. Therefore, who is asking, kindly help me to detach from this family attraction. Oh, this is the instruction. Oh, thank you.
Haribo, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, devotees, I think anyone who have attentively listened to this class will agree with me that such a powerfully loaded, enthusiastic lecture to listen to. Papa actually gave 2 lectures on this particular verse, one in Mayapur, one in Los Angeles. And this one was given in Los Angeles. And I know devotees must be having few questions in their mind regarding what Prabhupada has said so far in the lecture. We have His Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu here, so I'm sure he will help us to decipher some of those things that are necessary to clear up. So if anyone asks a question, please kindly raise your hand, and let's do justice to the question session. Sadev Prabhu's hand is up. Please, Prabhu Sadev, you have the floor.
Salika Prabhu, you are muted.
I'm not muted. My mic is on. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's audible. I can hear him.
Ah. Oh, maybe your hand.
You are
Sadev
still
Prabhu,
muted, Salika Prabhu.
No, I'm not. The other devotees can hear me.
I can hear Salika. I can hear Sahadev, both of you.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Can you hear me now?
What is that? Do you have Alexa or what?
So go ahead with your comment or question.
All right, Hare Krishna. Well,
Hare Krishna.
it is said nothing happens by accident. It's unfortunate we didn't have mother, but it's also beautiful. We get to hear Srila Prabhupada himself on this particular verse. And this purport is fully loaded. Amen. I really love it when Srila Prabhupada like chastises. Like it was saying, look, this Professor Kotovsky from Russia, he calls himself a philosopher, a professor,
a scientist,
but he belongs to the I don't know category. If you belong to the I don't know category, then how do you teach? I know, Srila Prabhupada. But my thing is, Srila Prabhupada is telling us Kunti Devi is not an ordinary devotee. Yet she was finding it so difficult to detach herself from family ties. So my question is, for us as ordinary conditioned beings, how much difficult it is for us to detach ourselves from family ties. And at some point, we have to detach ourselves from family ties. But I don't know when that time is coming to me. I'm still attached to my family. But at some point, according to this purpose, we have to. So if Ganga Prashad Prabhu is there, maybe he can guide us out slowly, gradually. We might be able to come to that stage where we can detach from all attachments.
Ganga Prashad Prabhu, you have the floor. His Grace Ganga Prashad Prabhu, please help us out.
You have no challenge because you are well situated as a guru. By example. In reality, is there anything we can detach from? Nothing. Because we don't have anything. All what we have is facilitated by Krishna for us to engage in Krishna's service. And Prabhupada was saying in one purport I read yesterday, I think it's in the purport of Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, text 12 to 8, when he was saying about the evil of family, children, house, and wife, the evil in it. But in the purport, the Prabhupada said, if they can all be engaged in Krishna consciousness, then there's no need to take sannyasi. There's no need to leave home. So that is the key point. If we are finding difficulty to detach, then let us make conscientious effort to increase engaging our whole domain in Krishna consciousness. If you see the purport of Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, text 40, Adamabi Baba Krishna, he says, so the elders of the family should engage the children and the women in Krishna consciousness, in devotional service. So this is what we need to do. It is only when our subordinates are not cooperating, that's the word. If they are not cooperating by prostrating to our authority, then we can do otherwise. Prabhupada did the same thing. The wife, Prabhupada was very enthusiastic to conduct a Krishna conscious home, engage everybody, but the wife was resistive. Okay, so Prabhupada came to the point where he now asked the wife, make a choice between me and tea. You know, and as Krishna will have it, the wife chose tea in place of Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada left home. So it is not a big issue. We don't have to aspire too much for detachment. We have to aspire more for attachment to Krishna service. I think in the purport of one of the texts there, whether it's 826 or 827, it says that in the real sense, a devotee has nothing to detach from. Rather, he gives up a lower thing to take a higher thing. We give up material circumstances to take Krishna. So ultimately, attachment to Krishna is the target. And that's what Kunti also is mentioning here. Don't let this relationship become an obstacle to me getting fully absorbed in thoughts of you. So if we can, you have that potency to carry people along, and then we achieve remembrance of Krishna, that is laudable. But it is said it is better to journey alone than to be in bad company. So if we are not able to achieve that, then one will start thinking of, oh, detached from this, detached from that. We are lucky. I will tell you, I was saying this yesterday to my family. I said, I'm very proud of all of them. Okay, because anytime I speak with people here and they're asking me, that's devotees here, is your wife a devotee? Is your family member devotee? And I say yes. They say, wow, that is wonderful. They may not by excellence be doing, but the fact that they are identifying, that is plus. All we need to do is not instill or apply Prabhupada's teachings more. Then we'll become better what we are. Otherwise, you can imagine yourself, Prabhupada Sade. Supposing your wife is not a Hare Krishna and she is a meat eater, that is hell number one for you. Isn't it? Yes. So be grateful for that. And just take it from there. We should not be too anxious for high, lofty levels. Let us appreciate what we have, use it, and be dependent on Krishna to perfect it. Kunti was dependent on Krishna. She wasn't complaining. Her family members, the Yadavas, the Pandavas, they were all devotees of Krishna. Still, she's thinking, cut my ties. Why? The real tie is she's torn apart. She's negotiating for the Pandavas. Krishna should not leave them. But she's also oversighting that the Yadavas also, they need Krishna's presence. That is her real dilemma. Not that she's dealing with non-devotees, and so she has to detach from them. So we should be grateful that we have devotee setting, utilize it maximum, and then be able to wait on Krishna's guidance, what he wants us to be. This is the little I can put in my own speculative understanding, and I don't want to be like that professor who does not know, and instead of being a teacher.
Thank you very much. But you've done more than justice to the question. Actually, when Sahadev Prabhu was asking that question, my mind was directly going to that purport which you quoted first, chapter 8, 13, 8 to 12. Prabhupada actually clearly, emphatically. And that is one of the verses that is keeping me going on, because I remembered very well when I joined devotion, I never wanted to continue my married life. I wanted to run away. So my Gurudev preached to me, and one of the verses he mentioned was this, and since that, I've always kept that verse in my head. So thank you very much for the wonderful explanations. All of the references are on point. Thank you so much. If there are no other hands up, I think we'll have to stop here for today. It's 12:03 now, look time, meaning that we'll spend 1 hour, 3 minutes on this for today. So we want to thank all the devotees.
Well, Krishna, if I may say something, I have to say thank you to Ganga Prashad Prabhu. You see, Krishna consciousness is very deep, and from time to time we need people, devotees who are kind of level-headed devotees, to explain certain things to us, because most generally the conception is that when one takes sannyas, that is the emblem of renunciation. But Srila Prabhupada was saying that in the paper that sometimes some people say they have renounced. What have they renounced? What have you got to renounce? You know, but he was describing Lord Chaitanya, how and why we say that he renounced his family life. He was a very handsome young man, age 24. He had a very beautiful wife. Everything was in place, beautiful for him. And he renounced everything. It's just like you have nothing and you're claiming that you're renouncing. So what is the meaning? You have nothing, you claim you're renouncing. So like Ganga Prashad Prabhu was saying, we really don't have anything. The only thing we can renounce is our false ego, thinking that we are the lords over everything we survey around us. And so I really thank Ganga Prashad Prabhu's contribution and explanation to my question. But man, Srila Prabhupada is so powerful. You know, and one thing I also picked on was where Srila Prabhupada, you know, sometimes some devotees will say, no, you don't have to argue, you don't have to argue. I mean, we are not like going around arguing, but if there is the need to argue, we should. That's what Srila Prabhupada is recommending, that he's asking his devotees to argue, to debate all these philosophers, scientists, and politicians. We have to argue with them and defeat them. We have to kill them. We cannot kill them physically, but we can kill them by logic, by argument, by philosophy. And so when devotees do these things, it does not mean any false ego or derailing from what Srila Prabhupada has taught us. Srila Prabhupada actually wanted us to face these so-called leaders of the world and put some sense into their heads, because they are misleading the world. So that was a point I really picked on. I said, well, I like to argue sometimes. And from what I heard today, I don't think I am derailing. I just have to make sure that it doesn't become like a habit that I'm always arguing. But if somebody is saying something that is false, which is untrue, and if I can, by Srila Prabhupada's teachings, say something, I think we should be able to say something based on what we know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your comments. And actually, you said it all. First is that when one does actually know nothing, then he argues. But when one actually knows, what he does is not argument. He actually discuss. And when he discuss, in discussion sometimes, somebody has to submit himself. So I'm seeing George Amega's hand up. So Ganga Prashad Prabhu, please, you need to help us again. George Amega, please kindly unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu. That is something that is disturbing me. Not really directed to today's topic, but I have to ask because I heard it on this very platform. I learned that when Srila Prabhupada was in America, he gave initiation to the American devotees without even following the 4 regulative principles. And those of us coming from the Christian background, when we talk of the 4 regulative principles, talking of gambling, intoxication, and the third one is meat eating, and please remind me of the 4th one.
Intoxication, gambling,
intoxication, meat eating, and
illicit sex.
Illicit sex. So out of the 4, the illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication, we all know from the Christian background that it's something bad. But when you talk of the meat eating aspect, it's something that we don't see it as a sin. So I would like to know, why is it that initiation have to be given only if these 4 regulative principles are followed? And I know the 3 is easily to be maintained, but the 4th one, which is meat eating aspect, is very difficult here in Africa or in our yatra, to be specific. So I would like to know, why is it that we can't follow the chariots a little bit by giving initiation to some of these people that they can follow some, but they cannot follow some. So I wanted to know, this has been disturbing me for some time now, because I know some devotees, when I joined ISKCON newly, it's about 10 years back, some we came year mate, some joined, they were following. After the initiation, I assumed that they stopped all, they were following the 4 regulative principles. That was what we assumed, and they were given initiation. But not quite alone, they all fell. But for me, as at now, I've not been taking initiation yet, but I'm following the 4 regulative principles. So I would like to know, how can this thing be? It's too rigid. If it can be flexible a little bit, I think that will be okay. So I want the senior devotees to help me with clarification on this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
You can approach it from everybody's own input. Everybody can contribute because it's an elaborate thing. But then let me put in what I can. Judge Amega Prabhu, your question is very, very interesting, informative, and educative also. Let us take it from different angles. The first angle is this. The 4 regulative principles in question is not what is going to make us go back to Godhead. Rather, it is just to make us come to the platform of being real human beings. Okay? So if we are given initiation, it does not mean automatic ticket
to go back to Godhead. Srila Krishna Prabhupada said, most of the initiations that we are giving now is not because people are qualified, but it is like sowing seed that may germinate in another life. So those who you are seeing now that they got initiation, they are not following, don't for any reason become bothered about them or castigate them or talk about, don't even think about it. Because the guru, he knows what we don't know. He's doing what we cannot do. And so the seed he has planted may fructify in another lifetime. We can leave it at that. Now, the second point is when you are talking about they should make it flexible, so maybe the meat eating should be compromised. You see from another angle, the Vedic scripture, when Vyasadeva divided the Vedas, his concentration was something like what you are thinking now. And he helped people to come up slowly by purifying their activities. So he divided the Vedas into 4 to achieve the 4 Purusha Arthas: religiosity, economic advancement, sense gratification, and liberation. This is 4 Purusha Artha. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he said that, yes, the 4 Purusha Arthas are good, but we should strive for the 5th Purusha Artha. What is the 5th Purusha Artha? Developing love of God. So you can see that even in our Lord Jesus Christ himself said that those who are pure in heart, they shall see God. And if you go to that canto of Bhagavatam 1.3.44, he mentions what qualifies you to see Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam. And he mentioned those 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, and sex defending. You have to be pure in them, pure in thought, pure in mind, pure in action, and then hear from a bona fide authority. Now you're pointing at Prabhupada to give initiation when people have not started following, and you have not taken initiation and you are following. That is okay. Prabhupada knows better than any one of us. It's just like I was hearing one offering of Bhakti Charu Swami to Radhanath Swami in one of his Vyas Puja. He said that Prabhupada, from the first day, he saw Radhanath Swami in a crowd of about not less than 5,000 people in Cross Maidan in Mumbai here. There was a Panda program they held. Prabhupada cited him in the audience and invited him to come and sit next to him. What Prabhupada was seeing at that time, none of us can see. Well, Bhakti Charu Swami is saying now, what Prabhupada is saying was hidden then, but now is becoming manifest because we can see from the activities of Radhanath Maharaj that he is an empowered person, and Prabhupada knew that he has a role to play in the movement, and that's why he picked him out. Not because he was following regulative or anything, he picked him out. The same way initiation is given from the darshan. He said, Samapandita Darshana. He sees equal vision. That vision is through seeing Krishna in everything. You can see the capacity of people. And he called them Tattva Darshi. They have seen the truth. We are not seeing. So from our platform, we will not know what they know. So if you are ready to take initiation, don't be comfortable that, oh, okay, I'm already following. Nobody can follow anything. It takes only the grace of Krishna. I was just narrating one story to one of my colleagues here. I was saying that in our life, we may be very strict in following, but sometimes may occur that we commit one small offense and we receive a curse, and that will make us deviate. So these things happen. And I gave the example of Subaru Muni. Subaru Muni was a very strong yogi, and he was in the waters meditating for thousands of years. But in that water where he was saying, one day, Garuda, the carrier of Vishnu, came to pick a fish there. And Subaru Muni shouted him down, threatening, don't come here again. And then Garuda cursed him that he will fall down from the path. He did not fall immediately. It took some time. But one day as Subaru Muni was meditating in the water, he opened his eye very little. and he saw two fishes copulating inside water. A yogi who has controlled himself, submerged himself. Because of that one offense, his mind became agitated and he broke his meditation. He came out of water, unregulated. He went straight to the king because the king is the protector of the citizens and the provider of all the needs of the citizens, and told the king, I want to marry. See, just see the thing, he became so uncontrolled. Then the king told him, even if I bring wife now for you, they will not accept you because you look so tattered, unkept, and shabby. So if you first go freshen up, dress, then come back. And he heeded the king's instruction. He went, he took bath, ornamented himself, decorated, and then came. And when he came, the king offered 21 of his daughters to him. Now what he wanted was to marry, but this guy took 21 women at a time for wife. Okay? So ordinary thinking, one will not rationalize, is one not enough? How much is that loss in him? But because there's a cost on him, all these things are happening. So there's a lot of lesson to learn in spiritual life that at any point we should not be comfortable, because Prabhupada said, spiritual life is like walking on a razor edge. Any little mistake, we can get caught. So even those who were following before they took initiation, there must be a reason why they started finding difficulty to follow. It's not because Guru has given up on them, but the potency of Guru will work, whether now, little later, or in the future. Ours is just, this is the first lesson I learned in devotional service. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. And don't even think that you saw it. Other additions of
Alika, you have to mute.
I mean, they don't tell you to try to.
He's stubbornly not wanting me to allow me to.
What do you mean?
So, Judge, I don't know.
Just that your voice is faint. I can't hear you now.
I said, I don't know.
I mean, it's number. I mean, this number. They said you don't try to promote it.
Others may have contributions also to add to what I just contributed. Hare Krishna.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think probably you've done justice to the question. I don't think there is anything to hide or surprise from it. The answers given are all perfectly in order. The only thing that, if anything at all, is that to tell Dr. Judge Amega that spiritual life is something that requires, it's a two-edged thing. And if you look too much at the situation around, you might get distracted. And my Guru Maharaj used the word inattentiveness. A little inattentiveness can cost us the whole of our spiritual life. Focus more on the goal that you have come into Krishna consciousness with. Otherwise, there are enough Maya in Krishna consciousness, not just only in Krishna consciousness, in every tradition, in every situation, to distract you from the goal. When we join newly, also, we have this kind of bath or mood where we see so many wrong things going on in the system. And then we want to talk about it. But over time, we come to realize that actually, that is our own Maya's test. So if you're not careful enough to see some of these things as Maya's test for you to be able to learn how to focus on the purpose of your journey, the movement, you might end up finding yourself distracted. I'm talking from practical experience. I've gone through it and I've overcome it. And that is why I'm confidently telling you, there is never going to be a time, whether it is Mahaprabhu's time or even Krishna himself on the planet's time, or even this time that Krishna is not the Prabhupada, is not physically dead. that you will not find these things. And in Srila Prabhupada's purport, I remember in chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada said that these things, naturally they will happen. But important thing is that when you see those things happen, what should be your mood? Your mood should be gratitude and prayer. Prayer of what? Compassion. That, oh, Krishna, this person is struggling. Please help them to be able to come. If at all you want to look at that side. Otherwise, before you know it, you will find yourself even in a worse situation than they are. That's my advice. Hare Krishna. I see Mother Narayani Davis and Prabhu Ganga Prasad. We still need you. Mother Narayani, please kindly unmute and ask a question.
Oh no, me blowny. Come and help me.
Mother, are you with us?
On mute. I don't know.
You are unmuted now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
I just
Krishna,
want to contribute what Prabhu Ganga said.
Okay.
There is another story in the Gita that there is this yogi in the ant fell meditating, and then this yogi saw the king, and then the king daughter was playing, and she was having this sari, and it was like a springtime. The wind was blowing. The yogi has meditated for so many years. He saw the daughter in the ant. He has meditated for so long that the body has been covered with the ant.
Ant hill.
Forgetting the name.
Ant hill.
Ant hills. So he tried to squeeze his eyes, watching this lady so badly, watching so bad, and then he said, so the lady too was like, there is something in this hole. So the lady grabbed a stick, poked the eye. So for him taking advantage of the lady, he said, oh my God, who did this to me? Who did this to me? He shouted, and the king was so worried. So who did this to this stage? So he took advantage. He said, so for me not to curse your entire kingdom, I'll have to marry your daughter. And then the king said, go ahead. So what Ganga Prasad was saying is like lasting desire. If you don't have Krishna, there is no way you can overcome lasting desire. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much for the nice story. Yeah, that's a very nice one. Okay.
Right. If I may say something to add to what Ganga Prasad Prabhu explained on George Amega's question. Yes, Srila Prabhupada gave initiation to some devotees who were actually not following the principles. But that was the beginning of the movement. Srila Prabhupada had to have people to help him. And so he gave initiation. It's actually recorded in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, where Srila Prabhupada gave initiation to devotees. And after the third or fourth day, then they were told the principles that you have to follow as an initiate. So they didn't even know the principles to follow before initiation. They only knew after initiation. But because they loved Srila Prabhupada so much, they didn't find any difficulty following the principles. But the principles is a must, that one has to follow them before you take initiation, because even though God, Krishna loves all living entities, it's only in the human form that one can really serve and worship Krishna. So in the human form, in order for us to be qualified as real humans, means that we give up these four sinful activities. They are actually called the pillars or the wheels of religion. If one claims to be very merciful, compassionate, Like Christ said, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who trespass against us. So if you are not merciful by killing animals, then how do you expect God to be merciful? And without God's mercy, there is really nothing we can do. So the first principle of, like Ganga Prashad Prabhu was saying, following these 4 regulative principles, taking initiation does not take one back to Godhead, but it is the introduction. Initiation means introduction. So the 4 regulative principles are a must for all people who want to have initiation into spiritual life. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Sadi Puru.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
for the contribution. Hare Krishna. See, pray.
Dhanava pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Yoga Day.
Yes, happy Yoga Day.
Happy Yoga Day.
Yeah,
Which of the yogas are we doing now? Bhakti, Astanga, Pranayama,
Raja Yoga.
Which of them?
The
All
king
of
of
them.
all yogas.
All of the above.
Okay, but you are still on the online, so I think there are no more questions. So I will end the class formally here.